So this guy right here took my number and made like random people in my contacts like call me. Why? Why'd you do that?
I didn't do anything.
Time to go to school.
Oh God.
It's time to go to school, Isaac. Are you excited?
No.
Oh. Okay. Okay, so I met up with Thomas and we're gonna go to the Dollar Tree so we can get some cheap macaroni and cheese bowls. Thomas is camera shy.
Oh my God.
Camera shy. Okay, so outside of school now, going home. Should be an interesting day. And yeah, so on my way home. I have a question for you.
What do you want?
How was school?
It's fine.
What'd you do? I'm totally out of it. I'm ready to go to bed. It's been a long day and this mono is kicking my butt right now, so I'm ready to go and take a nap. Okay, so what happened today? Well, I lost track of what I was doing. I got super busy. I got super carried away with everything. Long story short, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm currently on a leave of absence from work because I have mono and I've been super sick and it just kind of sucks and it's been terrible. That's not the point what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to say is that I didn't do much today and I don't really have a vlog for it, so I don't really know what to talk about. So that's why I'm going to choose something random to talk about, I guess. I don't know. So like I said, I wanted to tell a story, and I actually wanted to tell the story of a fantastic trip I went on. This story is the story of how this amazing trip all kind of it didn't end, but during the middle of it, it came to this point where I went somewhere and I didn't really specifically enjoy it a lot. And I wish I could re-experience where I went in a better way because I felt like I didn't experience it right. I feel like I didn't get the full experience because I made bad decisions the night before, and then that affected how I felt the next day, and I kind of already went in there with a really negative attitude, which I really, really wish I hadn't, and yeah. And what I'm talking about is the story of this photo right here on my Instagram. And what I'm talking about is how being in St. Petersburg wasn't as fantastic as I would have liked it to be. First, start off by saying I have no problems with Russia or St. Petersburg at all. There's nothing wrong with it. There was nothing that the people did wrong or anything like that, but it was just my experience overall that made it kind of not really that great. And I'm one who really likes to travel, and so for me to have like a really negative experience somewhere was on my own fault, not Russia's fault, in a sense. What I'm trying to say is that I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I wasn't like such a negative Nelly while I was there. So first, let's start off the story with where I was, what I was doing. Hold on, let me fix the camera. Okay, so what happened is I was on a cruise ship going throughout the Baltic Sea. And the night before, we were gonna go to Russia, and they have strict rules there. The first thing they did was make us wake up at like 6 in the morning, or it was like 5:30 in the morning, and you had to wake up, and then you had to be at like the theater on the ship to go into Russia to experience it. And the entire time you're in Russia, you had to have a tour guide, and it wasn't that. That was one of the problems I did have. What I'm trying to say is that the entire time I was in Russia, the first day was just not very expensive. I just didn't have a great experience. We spent 2 days in Russia, and the first one was my least favorite day, and let me get into that. So it all started the night before. My friends and I had decided, hey, let's just hang out and have fun. And so I was like, yeah, let's go and hang out and have fun. So we were hanging out on the ship, messing around, and it reached 12:30. And some people were like, I gotta go to bed because, I gotta wake up early. And I was like, yeah, alright, see ya. And I was like one of those people that was like, I'm gonna stay up late because I'm honestly a night person. It was the morning, like in the sense that was the morning we were going to St. Petersburg. And I remember I stayed up so late that night that I saw us dock in St. Petersburg. And I was like, okay, I'm looking at St. Petersburg, Russia. That is Russia right over there. And it was one of those experiences where it was like, that's cool to look at. I've never been here before. I'm like really up north. But we got to Russia and I was like, alright, cool, we're here. And then I was like, I haven't gone to bed. It's like 4:30 and I have to be up in like an hour and a half. I have to go to bed. What we did is I went to bed and I woke up an hour later being like, oh no, this ain't worth it. I don't want to go to Russia. No, let me stay on the ship. But the thing is that you had to pay $180 to like go inside Russia because you had to pay for the tour and then you had to pay the visa fee. And it was like you paid for this, you better go and do it. I was like, alright, I guess I'm gonna go. This will be interesting, however it works out. So yeah, and I went out and I went to Russia. And it started off as like I was up and I was just like, I don't want to be up right now. I don't want to be up. So I started sleeping on the bus. But the first thing that I noticed was like we're next to the naval bases, like next to the next to the Russia was like all the like at the port was like a bunch of naval bases. And I remember just looking and it just looked like communist buildings and apartments. And I honestly thought it was super cool to look at, was to be like, this is what it was like. Not now, but like back in the 80s when Russia was like, you know, it was communist. Continued on, we went to a museum, and that museum trip was like 6 hours long. And I like going to museums, I really do. But when we were at this museum, with an hour of sleep on my own fault, I was so tired that I was like, I want to go sit in these chairs. But every time I did, I would get yelled at by the people and be like, you can't sit there. And I'd be like, I'm sorry, I just want to sit down, I'm really tired. And the workers would yell at me. And I also had to follow my tour guide, and I couldn't understand her. And I was just having a really, really miserable experience. Went out for lunch. Things were starting to get better. Things were starting to be more entertaining in a sense. I just really wanted to get back on the ship and hang out with my friends and eat food. And so at about 3 o'clock, we were able to get back on the ship. We got back there, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. And so we hung out, and we stayed up again until 3:30 in the morning for day 2 in Russia. And I didn't take a nap in this time period. I just went right back to hanging out with my friends and staying up all night. The next day, I was miserable. I was like, I don't want to be up right now. And it wasn't enjoyable, and I hated getting up. But I ate breakfast. I was like, you know what? I'm having a really negative attitude, so I'm going to turn this all around. My mood turned around, and I was actually starting to really enjoy Russia. And so we started going off, and we went to another museum. But it wasn't in St. Petersburg itself. It was really, really far outside the city. And it was this castle, and it was really interesting to go and see. And it was really short, so we were there for like an hour and a half, and I was like, this is fantastic. This is so much better than I thought it was going to be. And so we got in, I looked at this beautiful castle. I can't remember right now off the top of my head what it is called, but it was beautiful, it was gold and wonderful, and yeah. After that, we went out and we went back into St. Petersburg, and this time we did a lot of more walking around the city. We got to walk around, which made it fantastic. And that's where I saw this picture right here. This is where I snapped it. This is at a cathedral in Russia, and it was absolutely stunning. And what I really liked about it, was because it felt like this was real Russian architecture. The day before, it was a lot of just sitting in a museum and looking at all these pictures of old Russian people that I don't know, and not being able to understand this lady. My mood switched, I was really enjoying it, we had a great lunch, I got to play with like some cool musical instruments, I had a fantastic time in Russia on day 2, and that really changed my mood. And so, we got back on the ship, and I remember, we were driving back, and I was just like, okay, now I'm tired, I'm ready to go back to sleep now. And I can remember like being on there and like driving through the city, and like looking at all these like Russian buildings, and looking at I could see the the World Cup stadium that they're building in St. Petersburg. That was cool. And then after that, we went back on the ship, and I slept on the bus ride home, which was like an hour and a half. And I was kind of set after that point, and then I went hung out with my friends and we had a fantastic time together. That story wasn't specifically entertaining, but the meaning of that story was to show you how if you go in with something with a negative attitude, you're always going to come out with a negative story. What Russia taught me was that I went in there with a negative attitude at the beginning, and I was like, I don't want to be here, I want to go to sleep. And then the next day I was like, you know what, no, this is my one chance. This is the first time, and who knows, maybe my last time, I will ever go to St. Petersburg, Russia. It was beautiful, it was stunning, it was glamorous, and I took the first day for granted, and I shouldn't have done that. Remember, always try something new, and don't be afraid, and just always go into things with a positive attitude. So if you go on something negative, you're not gonna have a fun time.
No comment. Your zipper's down.
That's not true at all.
It's true. I'll take a picture of it.
Like, you mean like the little top portion?
The half of his